The deep breath before the plunge.
Hello?
Is this thing on?
I don't know. That's your job.
It is on. Welcome in, everybody. We got Jason.
That's your job.
Jason, how you
Hello.
doing?
I'm rough around the edges, Christopher.
That's all right.
But I'm alive and I'm here.
You're alive and well.
I'm
Hey.
alive and I'm here.
We're glad to have you back.
Thank you, sir.
Scorched Earth, Molson, Ghost Hunter, Dark Mockery, Xenobond, Joel, Grease Monkey, Muffin Truck. That's great.
Muffin Truck. I love it. Great name.
Anna, Haley, Captain Schmo, Jan, Travel Cedric, Wirehead, Chuck the Mead Man. So early for you, Chuck. Hopefully everything's okay.
It's like, well, after that altercation the other day,
Chuck is a new man.
Chuck's working from
He
home.
is found. Chaos Devil says, feeling better, Jason?
I am feeling a little better. I'm still a little rough around the edges. I've got some sort of gut bacterial infection thing, I think. So it's not a standard flu type sickness. It's a little bit outside the boundaries.
Yeah.
So I'm dealing with it.
Well, we're glad to have you back. Gilborn. Gabe, I'm so sorry. I was organizing all Jason's stuff and moving everything in the... You can't. They don't fit. I'll have to rethink that whole thing. You can put it on top of the shelf. That
What's he
makes
doing?
sense. Those trays just don't fit. They don't fit in the holes. All right, everybody calm down. Jason is in recovery. He doesn't need this from us today, Gabe. So taking the opportunity to do a little painting while I wait. All good, no bike today. Phone interview for potential gig, says Chuck. Oh, Chuck.
The other day did have an impact.
Might have been. I don't blame you.
Chuck's like, I'm over it. I hope if that's the case, Chuck, you land someplace good.
Yeah. Chaos Devil painting. I think we had a great time yesterday. Got to do some exploring with OneStep.
Always fun.
Which one is it, Chris?
It's
One closer to me.
Yeah. Yes. You're freaking me out. You're going to have to turn that fan off, though. Basic business. First time chat. Has anybody heard of Bats Motel?
What?
Very interesting. Welcome in first
Wait a
time.
minute.
Welcome in first time chat basic business.
Wait a minute.
First of all, I don't know who you are or where you've come from.
Oh, yeah, you do. You just don't know yet.
I have a select 10 people I could probably decide who's on the other side. Very confused.
That's great, by the way. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully it's your mother.
I don't think it's my mom.
I hope it
She's
Who could that be?
is. Chance?
no. Will have you? Huh. I've heard of Bats Motel.
How do I turn this on?
You're on. Oh, you just hit that little white button there. Mo, what's up, Mo? How you
Mo.
doing? Good to have you back in here.
Hope you're doing well.
That's either my cousin's husband,
Okay.
Random.
Nick. I think it's Nick. Maybe. Could be way off.
That's funny.
If I got that, I'm a legend. Mo says, been up and down 2 weeks for sure. Hey, Mo, whatever's going on, hope everything's well. Kenneth, what's going on? Geek Models, what's going on? Gilborn says, any advice for doing Spider-Man line work without making a huge mess and losing highlights, etc.?
Like for the webs?
Yeah. Or is that what you mean, Gilborn?
Like the webbing lines on his suit? Let me know what you're talking about.
Gilborn says, yes, sir. The webs.
The web lines. Are they? Do they stand proud on the model you're painting? Like, are they embossed? Or are they engraved? Like, are they channels like panel lines, or do they stand up above the surface? I would assume they stand up above the surface on most of the models, but I didn't paint anything.
They are divided inward.
Divided inward. Like panel lines?
AMG's devoted.
That's interesting.
The webbing is inlined on the suit, says Ryan.
It's very difficult, right? Because in a lot of ways it's like doing freehand or, edge highlighting across a lot of edges. So being able to have a steady hand to pull those lines without making a mess, like you say, is your key. You can also get a little messy if you want, and then drag and do the red in between the spots if you feel more comfortable with that, right? So, producing the red, paint the lines chonky black, and then go back and do the red in between to fix any place where the black got outside the line, I guess. Either way is very delicate work. So neither of them is easy. The hardest part about Spider-Man at scale is finding a way to get the teeny little web lines on the outfit to work. So my advice that's never the one you want to hear is just be patient, take your time, and get comfortable as you start doing them, and be ready to have to go in and kind of correct as you go. So know and be confident in redoing the red in areas where it gets a little bit big, because you're probably going to have to go in and do that a couple times, where your line gets outside the space. But there is no good silver bullet for them.
Shadowcat says, okay, so wanted to get some users on Discord, was kind enough to help me out, and now I completely understand how highlights actually work when you need to apply them specific shape. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic thing your guys' products make so much easier. Oh, thank you. Absolutely. Well, our Discord community is everything.
Yeah, there are fantastic community members, all of them, that will be ready at a moment's notice to drop and give you help on things pretty much all hours of the day too, which is great. I can walk in there when it's like Australian time and people are chatting.
Yeah. Justin PK says, how do the OneSteps do on flat surfaces? Do they have the coffee staining issue?
They can if you put them on too thick and don't wick them away, but they work pretty well regardless. They're going to have less of that pooling and splotchy effect than others do just naturally because of the way we formulated them. So you're already in a better spot just right out of the gate. So, but on flat surfaces, anything like a wash can pool up. Especially because a lot of flat surfaces on models aren't actually flat. They have like little dimples in them and things like that. So you just need to be careful, wick it away, keep the brush moving, so that you can move the paint and keep it from pooling, and you'll be fine. I always show this guy.
Yeah.
These are basically just a bunch of flat planes.
Mm-hmm.
They have some dimples in them from the ripples in the fabric, but that's pretty much flat. And, we put it all over that. You don't get a whole lot of staining. It gets a little darker in between where some of the wrinkles in the ribbons are, but you don't find a lot of that splotchiness. It gives a very even coat on all of that.
Seth Amander, Chris, do you have any tips for taking good pictures of miniatures? Definitely a good amount of light. You want enough light on the model from the front, from both angles, both sides, so that you can see the shadows you've painted in. And then typically a third light as a highlight behind is kind of what I do it. And definitely a neutral gray or a black background always helps.
Yeah.
But a lot of light, and then a higher aperture if you're taking it with a DSLR or something like that. Good lighting. It's everything. George says, "You first time chat, welcome in. You mentioned some time ago that OneStep could do a quick non-metallic gold workup. Any examples of how that would work or how that would look?"
We haven't really followed through on that when I said I would do some. I haven't done a whole lot, have I? I feel like the closest we got was on this guy, where I've kind of started it. Right, you see, that's with the warm yellow over the zenithal, and I don't remember if I did another color first. I don't think so. I think it's just a warm yellow. I did the same thing up here. I might have put over the top of it. I might have put the dark green brown over the top to give it that shaded look. So warm yellow and then dark green brown. So this badge on the head. But I haven't done the highlights on them yet because I haven't done much of the highlighting on this model.
Yeah.
But that's the starting point. I can real quick take some pale yellow and show you what it would look like just with that. That's just OneStep, nothing else.
Yeah.
And then if I take some bright pale yellow, right, which would be one of my colors I would normally go to for highlighting this, or bright ivory or something like that as my final kind of punch instead of white. Can you pop in a little closer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bingo.
Oh, you're going on that. Okay. Got it.
And so if I go ahead and just drop the final reflective color over the top of this. Oh, did I sit still too long? Yeah. Right. This was just a simple zenithal prime, and then being able to take that and work in a little bit of a shine and some reflection on it. Does a great job without any effort at all. The only painting you're really doing is with this final brightness.
Nice. Oh, there you go.
No, I got it. I'm centering up. My brush was a little damper. Maybe this would work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so there you get just a real quick
Yeah.
down and dirty non-metallic gold, and we can pull this highlight down further to give us some more contrast, even as we go towards the shadows there, if we won't.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the setup. Just the warm yellow, and then I think this was dark green brown over the top. The same color that you see me using on the ropes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I think it was that same color over this to give it that kind of shadowed look. I want to zoom in on the badge. We'll do the same thing up here real quick.
I like how you did those crab arms.
Yeah, that was just stippling.
Yeah.
That was done with some opaque paint. I don't remember what colors we used, maybe pale yellow.
Polygon, thank you so much. Shout out to everyone at Monument. You guys make some sickest paints on the planet. Hey, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Unable to load my emojis. What? ¿Por qué? The Ace, I'll get to your question here in a little bit. Ooh. Nice.
So again, just putting the bright shine on these kind of turns it into your non-metallic gold instantaneously. You don't have to do a whole lot of effort. As long as you're comfortable with where to put your bright spots, then you're pretty much off and running.
Nice. Ace says, any tips on making a blood puddle on my base? I have some clear resin and I have AK still water to work with.
A blood puddle.
Blood puddles with still water or resin.
I would color it first.
Mm-hmm.
The water effects, go ahead and add your paint to it. I would use something like mahogany or black red. I like both of those, although mahogany has more of a brownishness, which looks more realistic. It depends. Like when blood pools, believe it or not, a lot of times it is much darker. It doesn't pool like in comic books and movies where it's all bright red. It gets very dark very fast. If you look at a bag of blood, it almost looks black, and then it's just red around the edges where it thins out. So I like to go with something like mahogany, and then do something like or dark crimson or even pyro red to just kind of do the edges and speckles in it to make it look wet.
Jason, what is the difference between Goop 1.0 and 2.0?
2.0 is vegan.
There you
That's
go.
about all the difference. They work the same. They have a different texture to them. But we use a different soap base now. We used to use a goat's milk soap base, and we don't do that any longer. We use a vegetable base.
Nice.
So, but as far as like how they work, all perfect.
You cannot eat the goop, Gilborn.
No. Well, everything's edible once.
I guess that is true. We don't condone it, though.
Cars. Concrete.
That was the first thing. Cars. You can eat cars, right?
Concrete.
Polygon says, I have a question. Could I have some guidelines / tips on how to blend between base colors and highlights? Great question, Polygon. A very common one, but a great one.
So the easiest way to kind of get between your colors is to use a mix of whatever colors you're using in between your layers, or as one of your layers is the better way to say that, right? So that you wind up with, say, pick two colors. What two colors are you using that you're getting, or that you think you might use that you'd like to see, and I'll work with some of those. I'm doing this as really scritched up leather is my goal here.
I like this color.
It's just grays.
Is this the
dark
end?
neutral gray, bright neutral gray?
Kind of looks like a cloth, like a bluish cloth.
I'm not seeing any blue in it right now, but
Maybe that's just me.
It's
Oh no. Oh no, there's no blue on that?
I'll be adding blue. The goal is to make it like a blue-black leather. So you will get the feeling of blue soon.
Papa Chicken says, "What did the ocean say to the beach?" Nothing. It just waved.
I don't know about you, Papa Chicken. I don't know.
Polygon says, "I'm using light umber and yellow ochre."
Okay, 2 great colors. You're highlighting dark umber, you said, or light umber?
I'm using light umber,
Light umber.
and yellow ochre.
And yellow ochre. So highlighting into yellow ochre off of light umber.
Yep.
All right, let's do some. So if I put both these colors out, and this is true of any 2 colors. Now, obviously, when doing color mixes, you're always doing better to move from a darker value to a brighter value when you're creating volumes. It doesn't mean that you couldn't also do this same technique with 2 equal value colors and mix them if you're just trying to get it for its hue, right, its color content. But most of the time when we do this, we're moving from dark to light or light to dark, right? Because we're painting volumetrics as hobbyists, because we're painting 3D objects. So let me make sure I clean that gray off of my small brush so it doesn't turn into soup while I do this. That brush is clean. And then grab a number 5. Right, so I'm going to grab a little bit of a bigger brush. As with all of my layering, I'm basically just a little bit of a damp brush. It's not wet enough to leave like shininess on my skin or anything. And then I will take the light umber, and let's just work this skull a little bit. I like painting these skulls. Let's say I do a base of light umber. You can choose to kind of paint how you like. I typically base the entire area with my base coat. So if I was using light umber, I would paint the entire area light umber. And the reason for that is so that I can always make sure I get darkness where I need it and not have to come back later. So, you know, I'll go ahead and paint the whole skull with my base coat color. If you had done something like a zenithal prime like you see here on the skull, and you wanted to retain it for all of your colors, you don't have to do this. You could stop painting your light umber here wherever you wanted to. But I'm going to show you how I do it, just so you can work through it if you don't have a zenithal prime, if you're just starting from, you know, a solid base coat with no variance, no value sketch or anything like that, because I don't want to make it seem like you have to have a zenithal to make this work. We just cover everything with the base coat. And like I said, this is typically how I do it. That way I can blend and make sure I can let my base coat show through when and where it needs to be, and not have to work back and forth between my colors too much, unless absolutely necessary. Or if that becomes the style that you like, then it's a very valid way to paint. I just don't like painting that way very often. When I'm done with a color, I like to be done with a color, so to speak. That's never really true. But as much as you can be. Move on to the next thing. Okay. So I've got just I'm not going to paint the whole skull, but we're going to get just the part you can see here. So and while that dries or starts to cure, what I'll do is, if you can jump over to the palette real quick, I'll take my light umber and my next color, in this case the yellow ochre, and I'll blend them together into what I call a 50-50. Is it 50-50? I have no idea. This is my scientific method. I look for what's halfway between this brightness and this brightness. So this is pretty dark, this is pretty bright, that looks good right in the middle. So I mix to that level. So now I have a third color. So that's the easiest thing to do with any 2 color to make sure you can layer and blend correctly. And then now I've got a color that I can come back in over the light umber that isn't going to have such a dramatic rise in value. It's not going to be so bright that all of a sudden it just sticks out like a sore thumb. And you'll see, like, this is again with no extra thinning. I'm not doing any glazing or anything tricky here. This is just a little bit of moisture on the brush, and it's letting me come through and put some color on here in a way that doesn't jump off and really make it look like you're jumping up to a much brighter color, right? Especially with matte acrylics, this works super, super well, because you're going to be able to have the color seat right in and look like it's blended better and more effort put into it than you actually have, because when they dry a little bit darker anyway. That's going to blend in really nice. I might feather a little bit across the cheek here just for the texture of the bone where I use more brush stroke. Right. And then same thing, always making sure that I'm, with this brighter color, I'm starting with my brush where I want the darkness and then pulling it up to where I don't. Because you'll leave more pigment at the end of your brush stroke than at the beginning if you're painting correctly. And I hate to say it that way, but that's really the way it is. There's a world where you could press very hard at the end of your brush stroke or light at the end of your brush stroke and control your brush to make it the other way around. But for most of us, as we do, continual pressure on the brush, you're going to leave more pigment where you stop than where you start. And so we'll just kind of do this and get our highlight areas and leave our dark browns where we need them in the shadows, and like down in here, and all in the crevices between the jaw spot where the teeth go in, right? And so now we've got the beginning of a pretty good blend without blending anything. There's no blend here. This is just layering. But layering is a very, very good blending technique. Now, depending on how big or small the area is and how smooth you want your blend to be, you can now take that same blend, right? I'll mix a little bit more of the umber and the yellow in to create more of that blend. You could do this and then add more of the yellow. So see, I'll just kind of mix along the edge of that one with the yellow to get the next brighter color. So now I can turn 2 colors into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one, maybe I drag a little bit more over here. Then I have the next brighter color. So you could do that. Or in a smaller space, you could go directly to the yellow. That's up to you. Right, so you can turn 2 colors into a wide array of colors, although I think 4 is probably as many as you'll ever really do. If you get to like a level where you're painting professional display quality stuff, you can get, not an infinite, but you can get more values out of this. But 4 is typically very good because you can see a nice progression from dark to mid bright to bright. And that 4 will give you a good step. I like 3. I typically do everything in 3, but I will switch to painting thinner. If you watch my Just Do This video, it shows you how my first layer of color I put on thin, so it creates this color by being that way. If you're not comfortable with glazing and stuff, then again, just mix this third color. And as you go back to the model, now you can see where I left that amount of darkness right there and then got to my paint, so that much space, and then I want to recreate that much space before I go to this brighter color. So I'll kind of start this in right around here using the same brush stroke, right? And sometimes I'll just kind of come in and define where that color starts first, like up here. Maybe it's going to cover more up here because this basically faces my light source. Then I'll fill it all in, right? So I kind of have defined the line where that color goes, and then I'll backfill it all the way up to the finish. Stop there. Right? And then I might, since I've been doing this texture, go ahead and finish that out. And then I can come back and do the front of the brow here, leave a little bit of darkness where the head comes over and gives the dimple into the forehead and the temple here, and get the top of this bone ridge. And I just want to make sure I don't cover up completely the color that I put on before. So this is going to define a lot of how you blend and mix your colors, because eventually you'll get to a point to where the next brush stroke covers up the last color completely, and that's when you know you're done. Right. So that you have a good blend. Not doing anything fancy, just making sure that you don't cover the previous color, leaving yourself enough to where now I can come back, again, just a little bit of dampness on the brush, and I'll grab just the yellow ochre by itself now. I typically take a lot of my paint off, even when I'm not glazing, just so I know I have, the right amount on the brush. I'm not going to put too much gloopy paint on. And so now I've started the dark brown, the mid mix, the brighter mix, and so then I want to come back in again and do the same thing with just the bright mix and give myself a layer. Think of like a candy corn color banding. I'm a little dry on the brush there, so I'm getting too much too much brush stroke. A little bit more dampness, right? And then just kind of do this and pull that into just the brightest spots. Making sure I'm always leaving enough of my previous color so that I don't lose the effect. In some cases, this might just be, you know, a tiny edge highlight, this last color, like across here. I don't have enough space to put it on the cheek much more, or it'll cover everything up. Probably just a little bit at the bottom of the ridge of the upper jaw here. Right, a little bit here, maybe across here. Create some texture in there. Maybe I can do a couple of streaks there. Then maybe just a line on the tooth, or a dot on some of these smaller teeth. So again, I'm not covering up too much of what I did last. And then I can come back and play with it and, you know, create some texture if I wanted to. And that's how you get your blending between two colors. Now, there's a lot of ways to do this, because I could do this same thing and I can glaze them together, but with layering, without having to know anything super fancy about how to wet blend or glaze or any of that. That's just layering. And that can get you great layering and blending with two colors. And it looks like you've used a lot more than two colors. And if you like if you jump and you get a little bit too bright, like maybe this is more brightness than you wanted up here, right? The cool thing that you can do when you get a little bit more confident and advanced in your painting is I can take a little bit of the, probably in this case, let's take a little bit of just the light umber by itself and pull it over here into a glaze. Right? Go back to the palette real quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I can, with a lot of water on my brush, I can pull the light umber into a very, very thin glaze. And I can come over here on my finger and I can see how that's just going to alter my color a little bit. But the strength of doing this is going to mean that it's going to pull together everything that you've done and smooth out any of the rough textures that you've got. So I can run that right along that line where my yellow was. It might be a little wet with the yellow where I just redid it. So it might wet blend. Yeah, we're wet blending a little here, but you get the effect. So now it makes that harsh line of where the yellow was go away.
Yeah.
So you can go and make your bright jumps a little bit easier to stomach by going through with a little bit of a glaze that softens that edge up. And that's where the magic of glazing and being able to control thinner paint comes in, because it'll help you smooth out. And that's how a lot of the painters that you watch and love the way their final product looks, is they'll come back through with something like that, like a very light glaze, and glaze it wherever they've got a little bit too strong of a texture or a little bit too much of a value jump. They'll come in and just kind of stipple glaze in a small area, like down in here, right? And that'll get rid of a lot of that harsh transition. It'll darken or brighten the color a little bit because, of course, you're putting new paint on top, but it won't be super strong because it's not opaque, right? So that's showing really quickly how I can get in, and, you know, that harder transition that was down here now virtually disappears, and we get very smooth, more wet blended looking transitions.
Nice. Hopefully that answers your question, Polygon. I think it did. Thank you so much, says Polygon. Hey, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
That
should help everybody.
Yes, it. That's why I was holding on questions there. Chris,
remember, any pair of colors has tremendous amounts of versatility when you paint that way. You stop thinking about, oh God, do I have enough colors? And you start thinking about all the work you can do with any two.
Yeah.
Especially if you start with as dark a color as you can and as bright a color as you can. So start thinking about what my base color needs to look like and what my brightest highlight needs to look like. Just grab those two colors and they'll make all the colors in between. It'll be very samey because it'll be very monochromatic. So that's where it starts getting to where maybe you pick a purple and a not purple highlight, like a purple and a pale yellow. Then when you mix them, you get all this cool color in between. If you just go, like this was cool because it was a dark brown and a yellow, which are in the same family, but give you a really cool feel. So it doesn't just feel like, you know, one-dimensional brown.
Yeah.
It gave that a really neat feel on the skull.
Yeah.
So that's a good color combo. If you just do dark blue and light blue, you're just going to get variations of blue in between. So it may lose a little bit of its depth, but it'll still give you a good way to blend across those colors if that's your intention. So don't be afraid of picking colors that are complementaries and don't have to be in the same hue family.
The Sharky, thank you so much for that sub. I want to call out some streaks here. Dark Mockery 95.
Whoa.
Sarcastic 325.
325 from Sarcastic Grandpa.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Colossal Meltdown 45. Wirehead 80.
He's a bot.
Look at all of you.
Sarcastic is a bot. Has to be a bot. Not possible.
Cool.
Keep popping closer.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's a lot of streaking, Grandpa. I don't.
That's awesome.
Oh.
We don't kink shame here. Like old school.
Jarls Tony. Thank you so much. 40 months. Papa Chicken says, a couple weeks back, Jason was talking about how to use paintbrush like a brush and not like a pencil. Since then, magically, my new brushes have kept their tip much sharper for some strange reason.
Amazing, isn't it?
Thanks for all that, Jason, in parentheses, we the people, USB-C craze does. He does a lot. USB-C. Never heard that one. I don't know where you would have gotten that.
It's so funny how we forget the basics. You know, we will sit, I don't need to go to school. I know how to do all that stuff. And then you're like, oh, but wait. What about that thing that we do so often we forgot how to tell other people how to do it? It happens all the time. And that's one of them. You know, when people are picking up a brush for the first time, the instinct is to hold it like a pencil or a pen. You know,
yeah.
There's still people in the world that know how to write. And if you use it trying to paint with a point all the time, you will lessen or shorten the lifespan of your brushes for sure. And also not get the control and the ability to do all the things you see me doing when I'm painting or other painters do when they're painting. Because your brush won't act the same if you're constantly holding it like this and trying to paint like this. Because you're hoping that your line width is judged by the bend of the brush. And I'm not really bending my brush, and I get thick lines, thin lines, whatever. I get better paint control when you paint with the side of the brush. You don't really paint with the tip of the brush until you're doing things like freehand, lettering, you know, places where you really do need a pen, right? There are times where that's valuable.
Yeah.
But for most of what we do, we're trying to paint with the side of the tip of the brush more than the tip itself.
Can you come down a little, Jason?
Oh, sorry.
The Graz, you're asking if I remember that gray-green you made. Yes, it was dark green with warm yellow, and those are both OneStep. And then I did a little bit of that mix with graphite gray. So it's, I would say, mainly 70% graphite gray and then 30% dark green / warm yellow. So that's how I made that on the fly to get that orcish, like gray orc looking stuff. Panic Bomb says, serious question. How many buns in today's stream today? That's not a serious question. I keep telling you that. I typed it out for you, but now you have to make me say it out loud. I'm serious business about buns. I'm sure you are, and so am I. Lumberjack says, I'm about to paint with you guys today. Nice.
Nice.
That's where the worlds align.
Some cross hatching to give my leather the feed up texture.
Forsaken really wants that red cloth work up at some point.
Which one on this?
No, on the I think you're talking about on that one other model, the red cloak you did with the air or the Conquest model.
Oh, you mean for me to do a video on it or to do it on stream?
Yeah, at some point.
I got to build that other model. All 3 of the ones I have built are already done. So I have it pulled at home. I just haven't felt like building it, so I apologize. Blame Chris. He didn't build enough models for me.
I did. Did you see this pile over here I finished?
No.
They're all over there.
You haven't shown them to me.
I put a bunch over here.
Well, I don't know why you didn't show them to me then.
You haven't been. You weren't here yesterday, Jason.
Oh, so you did it yesterday.
I brought them all in.
Okay.
I've been hard at work. Build.
Build.
Chris, is that one blending mega demo on the docket to upload? Yes. I have another.
The one we just did?
Well, that one's a great short. I have another one where Jason took more time that we actually just finished that I got to show Jason. Blending. There's so many bits on blending that it's kind of hard to choose. So I picked out one where he did the wings. You remember that brown to yellow that you did?
No.
Yeah. You did a brown to yellow one.
On what?
On a texture trainer. It's underneath you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to look for it.
Yeah, it's underneath you. But I also got that bit too. Yes, it was the 2 different ones, Boshak. You did one where you wet blended, and then you did one from the other. Because somebody's like, what do you do with yellow ochre to dark umber or something like that? So a tough blend.
That's weird because that's what we just did. I mean, we did
That's
light
what I'm
umber.
saying. So...
Very similar.
Oh, it was yellow ochre to... Yes, I have that one, Baba Chicken. Can I get 1 ticket for the texture train? Oh, Xenobond, of course. Hop on in. Of course. Welcome in. We need one that's all skulls for a texture trainer. Just a pile of skulls. That's not many textures, though. It's just one texture. It's just bone. I guarantee you can go find an STL right now of a pile of bones.
100%. Easy peasy.
Boshak, but think of all the bones. That's my point. This is one color. Gilborn says, you're one texture. Oh, wow. Shadowcast, as a basic review for me and others, what is the best way to get the moisture off your brush? Okay. I tend to find that even a little bit of water, like less than a tiny drop, tends to make the warm gray extremely runny.
So your brush when I paint, my brush always seems drier than you would expect it to be. If I had you here right now and I showed you how I take the moisture off my brush and such, you'd probably feel like, oh God, I wouldn't even think I could paint with that. And yet you'll see that even with this little number 1, I'm being able to pull quite a few scritches
and
scratches without reloading the brush, right? So the reality is that you probably are until you get used to it, you're probably always over wet with your brush, which causes it to bleed out when you touch the model or not be able to pull a real thin line. Like I'm doing super thin lines. Zoom in super close. I mean, these are all hairlines that I'm doing for scratches on this leather. And so as I'm creating these textures, I want to make sure that I'm not delivering a whole lot of paint. Same way when I was doing like the texture for the skin, where I want to do small little scratchy areas. So when I do it, it's different for every brush. And that's the thing that you have to start thinking. This brush doesn't hold a whole lot of fluid. It's a number 1, tiny brush. So when I go load it up with paint, right, I can't go, 8 times because I've taken all the paint off. Now it won't have anything.
Yeah.
So on this one, I'll load it up and I'll probably go 1, 2. And what I'm really looking for is it pulling the kind of line on my thumb that I want on the model? If it is, I'm probably good. Like if I can do that on my finger, then I can do that on the model. So then I can come back over here and I can, test that out and get it to perform the way I need to in actual action. So that's good. That's typically the way I do it. The bigger the brush, the more aggressive I remove the moisture because it just holds more. And it doesn't matter the size of the brush, you still want the same amount of moisture as you would with a smaller brush, right? Unless, of course, you're base coating. I'm talking about doing similar techniques. It doesn't matter the size of the brush. You're trying to get to the same or similar amounts of moisture overall to really make it function right. So if I have a number 5, or a number 4 here, compared to a number 1, right? Big difference.
Huge difference.
This holds a crap ton more paint. But if I want to make the same wispy little lines as I do with the number 1, I'll do the same amount of dampness, or I'll feel like I'm leaving the same amount of water on the brush, but it's not because this holds so much more. I need more paint. And when I come and dip the tip of the number 4 into paint, that's more paint than probably the number 1 would even hold if you dip the whole thing into it, right? So now I have to take off more paint in order to make sure that when I'm pulling a line, I'm getting that nice little line, and there I am. So now I've got that nice little line with this brush. Now I have to pay attention because this brush, if I push harder with it, will give me a heck of a lot more paint. So I got to make sure that I press lighter with this guy in order to get the same little scritches going, because I am really only painting with the tip of this brush now and using it more like a pencil. So again, brush size matters, right? But I can still get that same delicate line. It's not maybe as easy for me to do as fast with this brush, because if I smack it against the model too much, I'm going to get a really thick line, because this one will pull, a very thick panel as well. So I got to be more careful. But I can still make it work. I just have to focus more. So again, it's going to be, every brush is a little bit different. You're going to have to wick more off of larger brushes to have the same line width and paint delivery that you do with a smaller brush. So that's really just that brush control part. Brush control doesn't start on the model. Brush control starts on the palette. You have to be able to make sure you can maintain the right amount of paint for what you're trying to do. Because if I'm base coating, then I just come over here and I don't even take the paint off. I just go to the model and I start painting because I don't care, right? You just start spreading paint around and you go back to where you hit the model initially and stretch that paint out to cover as much as it will until it starts to either draw back like that because I'm too wet, or you just don't get any paint anymore, right? And so that's how base coating works. I didn't take any off. But when I want to do glazes, texturing, details, then that's when I start to remove paint. And it's all about me. For me, it's all about me watching what the paintbrush does on my thumb. Like, I know that's too much paint, but then now, is this the right amount of paint? Can I pull a line? Okay, I can pull a thin line, but am I having to be so delicate? Like, if I push like I want to, is that line too thick? Yes. And too wet. So it takes some more off. Now, if I push like I want to, can I do thin lines real quick? That feels better. Maybe take a little bit more off. Now I can come back and, okay, now I'm pushing harder and going quick, and now I can get really thin, delicate lines. So now I know it's going to fit the way I need to be doing this. Now I can come over here and I can start hammering at it and going faster, and know I'm not going to blow out the paint because, I've got it at the right thinness, so to speak, on the brush. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. That allows this big number 4 to work like a number 1 because I can control the paint better. Here you have to be a little bit more consistent with the amount of water you put on it, because a number 4 can thin your paint a lot quicker than a number 1 because it holds more water.
Yeah.
But it'll allow you to choose any paintbrush that has the right tip for the detail you're trying to do and not worry so much about size. You're just worried about fluid content on the brush. A big brush with less fluid will act like a small brush with more fluid if you're once you get used to doing it that way.
Welcome, foolish mortals, the expert acrylics. What is their main purpose for painters, especially for those of us who have pro acrylic in our collection? And do you have any advice for using them on your models, basing and glazing?
Well, a good series to go back and start watching, because I talk about that a lot and I use them a lot, is we were painting Whiplash Willie here.
Yeah.
And he's done completely in expert acrylics and OneStep. So I talk as I go a lot, and you see me using him on the palette a lot. We're not done with him yet, but that's where we're at, and I talk about it a ton in there. So this series of streams, just bouncing around in there until I'm painting the part of the model you're interested in, will show you, because I talk about everything from, like we're just saying, with detailing with them for doing like the lines on the vest, to blending on the jeans, filtering and layering. This is a great series to go and take a look at. But on a 50,000 foot level, there's no difference other than that they are more saturated versions of our normal colors, meaning there's just a lot more pigment per brush load on the expert acrylics than out of the liquid acrylics, because they're not diluted. Every liquid paint is diluted to some extent because it has to be. It has a liquid base. So there's an equal amount of wetness that isn't colored to wetness that is colored, if you want to think of it that way. It's not really how paint works, but you get my drift, right? The expert acrylic is as close to just having pigment and binder, the acrylic, right, as you can get. There's still water-based, so there's still a little bit of liquid in there, but it doesn't flow. So it's undiluted is what we'll call it, or as undiluted as you'll get as a paint. And so they start more vibrant in some cases, but not always. They just have more saturation. So every brush stroke is going to deliver more of that color than with a liquid acrylic. And so you can get to where you can glaze in one coat much easier with the expert acrylics, because they deliver more color for every filter step that you do. So I love them for glazing. They also base coat pretty well, but a lot of them are less opaque than the normal Pro Acryl line. So where I use them completely on Whiplash Willie, the way I typically say to use them is go with the Pro Acryl, the normal Pro Acryl colors, and do all your base coats. Then start layering with the expert acrylics, because they give you the ability to filter and blend very, very easily. And then finish out with your detailing with the normal Pro Acryl colors again, where you need that fluidity to get the fine edge highlights and textures and things like that. Otherwise, you're thinning the expert acrylics down so much that if you have the same color in the normal line, it's easier to just use the fluid paint. But for that in between, like everything after the base coat to the highlight can be done with the expert acrylics, and they can be easier for some people. They also, because of a lot of artists that come from the painting of canvas world, they may just feel better. They just maybe feel better for mixing. They give you a lot better, more intense mixing very quickly. So if you're used to painting CMYK or getting really vibrant mixes out of them, they just do that instantaneously without feeling like you're having to use a lot of paint. So, but that's just a feel thing. That's not a difference. You can do the same with liquid Pro Acrylics. Just some people aren't as familiar with painting with liquid acrylics as they are with paste.
Cool. Thoughts on complementary colors in your shadow tones? How do I keep from looking muddy in transitions?
Give me two colors you're talking about. Like red and green? Which ones are you having problems looking muddy in the transitions? You're probably stretching your transition too much, because remember that the complementary colors will offer you the ability to shade with one another, but they're not really intended to mix through a big band without kind of desaturating a bit, right? Because you're moving generally towards a shade of one or the other. Red and green, blue and orange, yeah. Okay, so when you're mixing complementaries, let's just take pyro red and green, right? So red and green. Super simple. Red and green make brown, or a form of brown, okay? So that's why shading one with the other is great. But if you wanted to do that, one of the better ways to do so, let's do this shirt, right? One of the better ways to do so is base with what color you want her blouse to be. So I'll do it with red. Say we want it to be a red.
Can you center up a little?
No. Did you move my camera?
I didn't. Ooh.
Did you move my camera?
I didn't.
necessarily striving for perfection on these, but I want to get it close enough to you can see the effect. And again, I'll paint the entire area like we did with this skull. I'll base it all in the color I want to be prevalent in most cases. I would not normally use like a pyro red, but this will give you the most effect. I would normally go with a dark red to a bright red if you pay attention to the way that I paint. But as a complementary, let's just take it as if you're just using two colors. Right, so we'll give it some red. Now we already have a little bit of shading there because of the black undertone from the zenithal, but I tried to paint it as opaque as I could. So we take some green. Now, one of the easiest ways to make this happen is to glaze a complementary over the top.
Okay.
Rather than mixing the colors together. But you can do either. If I go in and I take a little bit of red, you go over to the palette, and a little bit of green, you notice immediately I get a brown, right? So it can be a warm brown or a green brown. More red, warm brown, more green, green brown. But you immediately get a brown, okay? So brown will immediately muddy out your colors. If you transition from one to the other, you're going to string it through brown until you get to the color you need. This brown as a complementary is meant to be a great shade tone for this red. So, or the green, right? So I can come over here, mix them together, paint that in as my shadow. Then I don't lose any vibrancy, right? I just kind of blend that up into my red. And if I go from the brown to the red, then I don't really muddy my color too much. I mean, I'm putting brown into red, so it'll be somewhat muddy because brown is the color of mud, turns out, right? But by doing this, now I get a good shadow to my red. And so you can use green to mix it and do that way, okay? If what you're trying to do is do like a wet blend between green and red, that's not what it's meant to do because it gives you brown in the middle. And number one, it's going to be a darker shade than the other two colors. So it's not going to make sense for volumes. But you can also glaze. If you wanted to have some of the green show through, you can go through and, how am I going to do? I can only do this on the side now that I put the brown on there. And I messed up my flow. If I create a glaze out of the green just with a bunch of water on my brush, get rid of a bunch of it over here, but it's just pure green now, right? And if I glaze that over the top, I can get a little bit more of that greenish hue that I want, but I still get that same move to brown.
Yeah.
But it will have a little bit of the ability to keep some green on there, whereas the mix won't. You know, this will give me the ability to transition maybe from dark to light and not have it muddy out as well. I prefer the glazing method because the mix, now I have to mix more red into it for my mid-tone. The glaze, I can just do another layer of glaze.
Yeah.
Right? The more glaze I put towards one end, the darker it'll become, right? But with the glazing method, you will obtain more green. If you wanted the green to show through, you'll obtain more green as you build more layers because it'll only be brown on the see-through layer of greens. And then as you build up opacity, it turns green. So that can help you if you really wanted, for some reason, the green and the red to be there. Glaze. If you want to just use what the power of complementaries is for creating shades, then mix them together and just paint the brown. Make sense?
Yeah.
Same with the oranges and blues and all that. They all do the same thing. They all make a shade for one another.
Cool. What is do we don't have a particular video on non-metallic blue armor. Mad Eyes, you were asking about that, but you could also go back to El Tonio Tigre, and there's got a lot of good non-metallic metal concepts in that video, and then you could replace the colors.
Yeah, the reality is that non-metallic metal is all done the same way. If you think about it being done in black and white as opposed to the colors you're watching.
Yeah.
With black and grays representing those mid-tone colors and the whites and bright grays representing the brightness that you see people apply, you can look at any non-metallic metal, and if you could just turn your TV to black and white mode, it would teach you everything you need to know and then just replace the colors as you see fit. That's the reality, right? Because really all it is and what I try to teach people is to stop thinking about color, start thinking about value. because the value is the difference between darkness and brightness of colors. And when you're watching non-metallic, what's really happening is you're going from your darker values. You put like a base of dark blue, let's say, and then you build up a mid-tone blue, and then you jump to a very bright blue. You don't do all the in-between that you would with normal stuff. Like if you're doing cloth, you would go from dark blue through a bunch of blends of mid to get to like we did with the skull a minute ago, right? Where you went through from the light umber to the yellow, and we went through a bunch of transitions of 4 colors to get a nice blend from one to the other. In non-metallic metal, to create non-metallic metal here, you would basically go over this with a bright color. These would be your dark colors, and then you would put like pale yellow on this. You wouldn't continue to blend from the yellow ochre to pale yellow by mixing those. You would just go yellow ochre to pale yellow. And so that's what makes this shiny. And reflective surface painting is all about understanding that. Whether it's metal, plastic, glass, whatever it is that it goes from the darker tones on the area to bright reflections very quick. That's the more distance you have between your brightest color on a space and your darkest color, the more dull it becomes. So fabric is typically something that you're far apart, right? Because there's no reflection. And then when you start getting reflection, you bring those closer together. So you have less space to blend in colors. So you have to go from dark to bright very quickly. And that jump is what makes people have heart palpitations, right? Like when you were doing your non-metallic metal on stream, it was the fear of jumping to an ultra bright color, because we all know what that does. If you go too bright over dark, it creates a situation where it's unblended and clown suit. But with metal, that's the way it is. Now it's about positioning that bright color where the reflection would be to sell the idea. And so hang out, and we'll be painting more of that. There's not a ton on him that I'll be doing non-metallic, but we paint a lot of non-metallic, typically. This is a rare model, believe it or not. Ah, right through the green. That's not what you want to do with your paintbrush.
Bald man, Jason, it just dawned on me. Chris doesn't shoot you from arrows thrown at you. What? He just gets hit by arrows directed at him.
Right. That he thinks if they don't hit him, they'll hit me. And that's how he gets his feeling that he's protecting me. I know this.
Bald man, you're not bald. How about that? How about them apples?
Oh, he's bald.
Oh, I protect Jason.
You don't protect.
I know what I do here at Monument Hobbies.
And it is not protect me.
Of course it is, Jason.
From what?
The slings, the arrows.
There are none.
The atrocities. Little Billy says, he doesn't even go here. At least someone knows what Chris does. Everybody calm down.
At least somebody knows. It can't be Chris that is the only one that knows what Chris does.
Mo says, Chris is just abnormally weird. These are facts.
Abnormally weird?
Abby Normal.
What was the name on this brain? Abby something.
He's going to be really popular. All slings and arrows are completely and unequivocally directed at Chris, says Little Billy. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I keep telling Little Billy.
Abby something.
Abby no.
Because Jason feels this way, that means the fortress is doing its job. You know?
No. You don't know.
You keep saying that.
That's like saying that purple orcs are invisible. Why? Because you've never seen one. That's not logic.
I don't know. Have you?
That's not logic.
Ever seen a...
You're not protecting me just because I feel no pain.
If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound?
Not if there's nobody there to witness it. Why would it waste its time? That was always my answer in psychology class, or whatever that class was, philosophy class.
Panic bomb. Chris, what would you say you do here? I do many various tasks here at Monument Hobbies Incorporated Inc.
LLC
Foundation. I have a variety of different accomplished tasks on a daily basis that I complete. Right? Exactly what I do.
I don't know.
I have various responsibilities that tend to lean towards getting them done and completed.
Wait, what?
TK said he's a people person. I'm something.
You are something. I will back you up on that one.
Emma says getting out of bed doesn't count, Chris. Wow. Chris, did you just make that up? I made up so many different things in my life, Mo, that I can't keep track. If I ain't repeating nothing, there's a very, very little chance that I could say exactly what I said 2 minutes ago, exactly the way I said it, unless it's a bit. Gilborn says, Chris, I'm going to need you to look at the Discord main chat. My wife made a cake for her birthday last weekend and wants your validation. What? I'm not a baker. I'm not a baker.
That might be the best thing you've said in a long time.
Holy buckets. That's dope, though. Here, you guys, look at this.
Oh.
Not possible.
That's crazy.
That's not possible.
Is it cake?
That's not possible.
That's so cool.
That's AI.
First of all,
If
shout
that's
out.
real,
That's
I need to know how to
proof
get one.
Yeah. We want it in person because I was just about to say we want proof of you eating it, but you could AI that too. I want that cake immediately.
Yeah.
Commando Ken says, Chris does stuff and things. Exactly.
That's what you have you believe.
Papa Chicken. Even Chris's ex-wife would say he's accomplished several assorted tasks to various degrees of completeness. That's great.
Which one?
Oh. There you go.
Sorry, I didn't want to make a grown man cry today, but here we go, chat. Here we go, chat. Watch Chris cry. Which one, Chris?
All of them. Forever After. Hey, thank you so much for that sub. 16 months. It's edible paper, says Gilborn. Like I said, if we don't get one, we don't believe. It looks amazing, though, by the way.
That thing's amazeballs. I can't believe it's real. It looks too fake. Or it looks so good, it has to be fake. Which hopefully is the compliment she's looking for. Unless it's fake.
I mean, I think that's the best compliment.
That can't possibly be real.
Yeah, because then when it is real, you're like, it is real.
It can't be. There's no way that was made by human hands.
Baldman says Chris sniffled, so you know he's lying. I know you're lying because you're not bald. Little boy says,
you
Chris,
guys need to kiss and make up,
I
or
won't.
like have the cage match or whatever's going to happen here.
all these enemies, Little Billy, Bald Man.
I know.
You
do this to yourself.
You've got you're on thin ice.
You do this to
Thin
yourself,
ice.
Chris.
One false step will band you. Oh. I'll fight to the death, Bald Man. But I only fight people with baldness, I've determined, so. I only fight bald people.
Wow.
Gilmore says she loves the compliment. Hey, she did a great job. That cake is amazing.
I want to know what it costs to get one.
Chris, you're fired of thinking about banning people. No one should have that much power. That's a lot of power. Only one that a fortress wall could hold. You know?
You shush. Fortress wall.
Stan, Chris, you probably have less enemies if you stop threatening to ban them.
That would be logical.
Have
Have you ever seen Chris use logic?
I'm not here to make friends, all
Here,
right?
There he goes. Here we go. Here it comes.
I have a mission.
Prepare yourself, chat.
I know exactly what I do at Monument Hobbies.
Which is?
Protect Jason
Oh, here we go.
from the fiery slings and arrows of chat. It's literally the first thing on my job description.
I'm gonna have Ellie rewrite your job description to include that.
I think that'd be hilarious.
Protect Jason from the slings and arrows.
Great. Jason, do you prefer using true metallics generally or non-metallic metal?
Non-metallic.
Hammerhawk.
Non-metallic is my go-to. Every time. Metallics are great, but I tend to get bogged down with wanting them to look too much like my non-metallics because I like the high contrast and more control that non-metallics give you that metallics don't until you spend an equal amount of time for me on them. That's not the case for everybody. When I use metallics, it's typically to be done on models where I just want to get them done quicker. And I'm not as worried about overall look. Not to say that non-metallics can't look beautiful. They can. They can look as good, if not better than, or that metallics can look as good, if not better than non-metallics. It just takes so much time for me to get there with metallics that I prefer non-metallics because I can do them quicker.
Yeah. I like true metallics. They're fun to play with for sure.
I mean, I'm an idiot. I paint even my speed armies. I paint with non-metallic.
How about we do all this trim and non-metallic for all 100 of these Space Marines?
Yeah, let's just do our whole freaking 72 airborne Blood Angels in non-metallic. That'll be great.
What'd you say?
That's the way to make sure that I never finish an army. Huh?
Trigger non-metallics?
Trigger non-metallics? No.
I didn't say that. Trigger non-metallics? Interesting. I should turn your mic on.
He's over there yapping. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody
sorry.
cares.
Speaking of trigonometallics, welcome in everybody. Today's episode is Boosabu and you.
The Boosabu and you?
Boosabu and you. Because we're painting a Boosabu today. This is from Conquest, right, Jason?
Yes.
And I would say right now, probably 70% of that statement I would just say would probably include, is that from Conquest, Jason? And he would say yes.
Yes. You mean most of the stuff in this room?
Yes.
Also
There's
true.
a lot of Conquest
Also
in
true.
here.
There is so much Conquest in this room. Some quite a bit of AMG and a bunch of Star Wars stuff, and then Conquest.
Ryan says, the Moosabai in me. I don't
Yes.
know about that one.
Yes. Correct. All right. So I think I was talking about using dark blue black over the top of this. I think I still want to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to thin the crud out of it, though. We're going to show some dark blue black OneStep
Oh.
with some heavy thinning.
I don't know what's going on here anymore.
I send it back.
You send it back?
Send it back.
This is what I did through my airbrush and it was awesome.
Heavy thinning.
Okay.
Send it back.
Oh.
I don't know.
Why?
Oh my, says Mo.
Why? I was trying to get the ASMR crowd.
We can't.
Here. Some.
I don't know if they can hear that because of the noise gate I have.
Oh, darn it.
That was so light. That was very ASMR. What kind of thinning, Jason, says Wirehead?
Heavy thinning. It has to be breathy, right? It has to be like, oh.
Heavy thinning. Heavy thinning.
We have to be able to go.
They can hear that. Okay, everybody take it easy.
Calm down.
Everybody calm down. Let's back this up. This is a business. Kids today and their drugs.
Their drugs.
Their antics and their
Kids today and their drugs.
rap music.
How about 50-50 water and OneStep?
50-50?
50-50.
I thought it was going to be even thinner than that.
50-50. That's pretty crazy for OneStep. You don't have to thin OneStep much to get what you want.
Let's see that. I didn't see that consistency.
Me neither.
Oh. All right.
Ah!
What has happened over there?
I broke my brush.
Gandalf.
did?
What ruins?
I broke my brush.
You did?
Yeah. Like I literally just broke
Oh no.
I literally broke it.
Oh.
Oh no!
It sheared. Well, I had stepped on this one not too
Oh.
long ago.
Okay.
And I was just praying that I didn't. You know, it was one of those where I dropped it, and then when I stepped to see if I dropped it, I stepped on it, but I didn't
no.
really feel like I put a lot of weight on it. So I was hoping,
Oh my!
That's funny.
that maybe I didn't really step on it, but it appears I really stepped on it. So
There
that
you go.
sucks. That sucks. Huh? Could I? Yeah, but we make brushes. I have more.
No.
Means I get a new brush.
How did I get new brushes?
Perfect.
Means I get a new brush. Why did I do that? I can get a new brush.
Joel B says, I'm working on some black powder armor, but I can't settle on a shadow color. I keep coming back to Payne's Gray, but I feel like that's not cool enough. Do you have any suggestions?
Whoa.
No,
Are you
cold.
saying...
Sorry, cold enough. My bad.
Okay. That person gets to survive.
It's not cool
You
enough.
saying
It's cold.
Payne's Gray and cool enough. We got problems, you and me. Oh my God, this is perfect. Look at this.
No, Gilborn, we will not be going over how to fix a broken handle. Get a new brush. That's why he's not on the mic. Just get a new brush.
Yeah, don't listen to Gabe. Gabe, Mr.
We got to put a wood glue, then get over this, and then we
old
can put the little
world
shard in
artisan
there. No.
woodworker guy says
It's called a dauntless
I could
brush.
Fix that. Let me go get my planer.
Speaking of not cool enough, hey, little Billy.
Wow, Chris.
Yikes.
Welcome in, Chris.
There it is. Monument branded Scotch tape. I think Monument should, going forward, should just start branding literally everything, Gabe. That's my pitch. Everything.
When you come to Monument Hobbies, it's like
Toilet
going
paper.
to Walmart
It's like
or like Costco.
literally
where
everything.
everything's Kirkland.
I want Monument Hobbies branded toilet paper.
Do you want it
Depends.
For fun or for
Sorry.
Are you wanting it for fun or for resale? Because for fun, I can make whatever you want.
I'm all about the money. All right?
Yeah, I feel like this is a very capitalistic move by Chris.
I want to wipe my butt with Monument Hobbies toilet paper, the finest.
Now, do you want it to all be like our branding? So you got what? Are we doing black TP?
I'm so sorry. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. I want branded toilet paper.
What do you want on it?
Figure it out.
Okay.
Which means then I will
I
have
want
to
little
help you
I
figure
want
it
little
out.
embossed pillow M's.
I want everything. I'm talking air fresheners, popcorn. I don't know about that one.
Coffee.
I can make.
Coffee. Monument Hobbies coffee. And it's just called Get Lit. Were you writing this down?
He's not.
Most of these will come back to our request to design the box. So I guess I'm adding work. What would you guys buy if it was Monument Hobbies branded?
I can get you
Towels, golf towel. Ooh.
I can get you printed toilet paper rolls
Okay, great.
in 10 days.
Perfect. Wizard's
It's
butt
actually crazy.
underpants.
This is insane.
Wizard's butt toilet paper.
Yep, we
Now
can
we're
do that.
talking.
Wait, Wizard's butt underpants is awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Come on, let's hear it, chat.
All right, hold
Monument
on.
Hobbies
Hold on. Let me get the
PJs.
whiteboard out. Let me get the
Breakfast
whiteboard out.
cereals.
Jeez
And fruit
Louise.
bats in large. Skip a bit, brother.
Jeez, let me get the whiteboard out.
I was really trying to make sure we didn't make Jason more ill today, but
Well,
That's
that
out
didn't
the
happen.
window.
That's out the window.
Branded TP for Christopher's pleasure.
did you say pleasure?
I did.
I could
Okay.
use some of that right now.
You said.
Oh boy, that's more real than we thought.
Wizard's butt
Uh,
underpants.
Monument Hobbies, the flamethrower. The kids
I would love a
love this one.
flamethrower. Somebody express how we can do that.
Danger Boy, real question.
Breakfast cereals, orangutans.
Aprons? Well, we have aprons, but we'll see.
We will not do a wizard's butt plug.
Ew.
That's not happening.
Whoa.
I don't read
family
half
show.
of these ones. I knew
That's
that's
not
not going
gonna
to come
happen.
up. The top needs to be strong enough to remove excess paints off your brush,
Ready
but
to
soft enough.
cook
That's great.
sienna.
That's ready to cook sienna. There you go.
It's either raw or burnt.
Reactional North,
Ready to
absolutely.
cook sienna is
TP.
hilarious.
Strong enough to remove excess paint off your brush, but soft enough for your tush. Great line.
Panic Bomb, you work in a print shop and can make unofficial merch? DM me. Send me a message on Discord.
Bulk salmon called
We'll get
Chris
some crazy
Mass
stuff up in
Sushi.
here.
Slip into Gabe's DMs.
Yikes.
Message me on Discord.
Only business messages. to Gabe,
Double-ended
please.
paintbrush. Paintbrush on both sides.
Oh, like a Darth Maul style paintbrush.
Yeah, or like what if it's a 3 and a 1? You know, so you could flip it real quick.
No.
Don't get everybody excited.
No. They make those. They're so dumb.
They
Here's how to ruin
They
a brush
do?
in
Really?
one easy step is have one of the parts that you want to use be in the palm of your hand all the time.
No.
Idiotic things.
Nunchuck paintbrushes?
Okay,
The
Wirehead
leave it
said
to China.
I want a paintbrush I can mount in the drill chuck for power dry brushing. Now hang on.
Okay, wait a minute.
Ninjon just did a video on that where he tried he put that in his drill.
What, a dry brush?
Yeah. Nunchuck paintbrushes. Bow check. I don't even know how that works.
Monument branded branding iron. Doubles as a burger press. That's crazy.
So what we're saying is
Monument Smash Burger.
so what we're saying is that we could come out with anything and you guys would buy it, correct? Is that what we're getting at?
I want Monument Nasal Adhesive.
Nasal adhesive?
Yeah.
What is a nasal adhesive?
It kind of is in the title, Gabe.
Think outside the box.
I don't understand.
I will Google it. Turn the safe search off.
Yeah.
Turn safe search
Christopher,
off.
why
What
are all
is
these
nasal
images
adhesive?
blurred out?
Yikes. Wirehead, yikes.
When you want that touch of bronze.
Monument condoms with a touch of bronze.
How did we get here? Are we a painting stream?
No, we are now a business business stream.
Oh, okay. Can we make Drano?
Monument
For
band-aids.
the drinkable kind?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Bleach?
That's crazy. All right. Well, I took some of your guys' ideas down.
Oh, perfect.
I did. Some of them are funny. I just imagine Christopher just munching on a box of Monument Hobby cereal
I'm so glad you finished
with
the
some
rest of that.
little M marshmallows in it.
What's wrong with that?
I think that's great. I think it's hilarious.
Was the last
I
time
want
you had Lucky
I want a
Charms?
video of Christopher sitting in his wizard's butt underpants, munching on a box of Monument Hobby
Literally,
cereal.
not one soul wants to see
I
that.
think it would be awesome.
I'll do it if you make it. We'll sell 5 boxes, $1 million a piece. I get half the profit.
That's not how this works.
25%?
Nope. We're not. We've done this before.
25%?
And you know how this
So
negotiation
funny.
ends for you, right?
Come on. How about 10%?
Nope.
If I sit naked,
Did y'all write down hats?
Yes.
We got hats.
little P's and A's, okay. That's fun.
Yeah, hats. Yep, they're coming. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
The
Don't eat the paint, please. Thank you.
That worked too well. Made it too easy.
Stan says, well, more than one wife didn't want to see that. Sorry, that's Jason's fault. Yikes. How about pre-painted models? Great idea, little Billy. That's real profit.
Wait.
Yeah. What a new venture we've created.
No.
Burnt red chips. There's a lot of food allocations. We don't
A
do that.
self-assembly glass palette.
A what?
We're just out
Self-assembly
of control.
glass palette. That's crazy. And
I
some
know.
glue.
Rattle can. I pitched it again. No free pub koozie.
I know. I have it.
I think that one's coming.
No free pub. I have to get in different sizes too, depending on the drink.
The big one.
Yeah.
Red orange hot sauce.
We come up with anything. That's the moral of this story.
Don't need the paint.
We're back.
No, we're not.
Enough of all of you.
Here we go.
You're all banned.
Yeah.
Clean slate.
Look,
We're back to painting. Jason.
It's a bag of sand.
Preloaded disposable paintbrushes. Papa Chicken, come on. What? We can't do everything for you.
All right. Whiteboard has been closed.
Feta chili chips in the shape of PA bottles.
Now we're talking.
Now you're starting to get in.
Hear me out, Chad.
There it is. Here it is.
What if?
Oh man, have you said this to chat already?
Huh?
You've already mentioned this to chat, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cheesesteak cakes. Yeah, feta chili. That's what he's mentioned to chat many
Yeah.
times.
I
We'll get the. Let's do a
Suppose.
Kickstarter, Jason.
I don't want to run a restaurant.
I'll do it, just for you, in the name of Jason.
As much as I like to lambast you, you do have a job. And
I
it
do
ain't
have a
running
job.
restaurant.
These are facts. Is Pro Acryl Brush On Primer a good recommendation for Reaper Bones Minis? Our Brush On Primer is awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. It's literally, it works great.
I think it's great. I don't know much about the Bones models anymore. I know that the old white Bones stuff didn't prime very well.
Is that because it
because
was like
it was very oily, like PVC,
I've done some
cheap board game plastic stuff.
I've
so-
done some of my like cheap model, like that plastic, whatever it's called. I don't know what that's called, but like what Jason's talking about with it, and it works great.
He formulated it to work pretty good with all types of plastic and PVC models, resins, metals. So it should be all right, but I would test one and see. The black should be fine. I think the Bones black is like Siocast resin.
TK says, I want to do a Kickstarter that offers a Kickstarter. Whoa.
If you'll back this Kickstarter, we'll do a Kickstarter.
And we get 10% of that Kickstarter.
jeez.
That would be great.
Which
actually.
one are you talking about? Exactly. Would it be better to prime with rattle can instead?
I'm always a fan of doing models with airbrush or rattle can and letting the brush on primer be for when you don't have access to those.
And
But the brush on primer works so well that
Yeah.
the only thing you lose with it is a little bit of time because it's going to take you longer.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to use it. And rattle can, if you're only doing one or two minis, is a waste because it costs you more paint every time you push the trigger down than one model is usually worth. Well, it's a big one, right?
Yep.
So that's why airbrush is the kind of perfect in between, although it wastes more paint than the brush on. So I guess it's not really, right? The brush on is the most effective and efficient way to do it. It just isn't efficient on time. So you're trading time for convenience, I guess. But no, if you have the brush on primer, use it.
Avian says, hello, hopefully better Jason.
Hi.
Hello, Chris. Hello, chat. The moose is loose. Yes, Avian, great segue. Boosabu and you. That's what the title of this stream is. We're painting up some Conquest today. In Jason fashion, I would say. It's coming along pretty good.
Going back with the bright neutral gray and peaking some spots here where I want a little bit of the shine to hit. Big sigh, Chris.
Well,
sign.
well, well.
Oh,
Well, well, well.
what is happening?
Well, well, well.
Uh-oh. What'd you find out? I swear.
I have my ways.
I swear I wasn't cheating when I worked with that other producer. Sorry, chat.
Is that where you've been?
Things may get difficult here for a second, chat.
He's
Bear with
been
us.
sick, in quotes. I can't take it. Ghost Hunter's like, hey, I have a lot of paint buildup in my DA100. Can Jason show us how to use the brush Goop to clean a paintbrush? No.
No.
But I do have a great video about cleaning brushes. Hold, please.
It must be getting close to quitting time.
No, it's not even close.
Okay. Usually that question comes out close to
Everybody
quitting time.
calm down. You're about to get a video tutorial landing page. Right? Here we go. Bing, 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 bing. Check this out. Blam. There it is. God bless America. Go click that link if you need to clean your brushes, you dirty children.
Dirty children.
M3 Stout, gotta go. Be an adult now. Thanks for the advice, Jason. Chris, till tomorrow. Hey, take it easy. Have a great night. Thank you for joining in. Chris, DW, the other producer, worked for GW. The stream had no audio for your safe for now. Okay. Stan. I don't talk about other streams. I do all the time. But not when Jason's here, cheating on me with another producer. What's their name?
There are no other streams.
You say that. Who was it? Question for Jason. Using Monument Hobbies paint, how would you do cream? Would you work off ivory and add yellow or something else?
What does cream mean?
What is your cream color?
Like, what are you trying to paint?
Is this like a dollop of cream?
Cream is another one of those things. It's like khaki. It has no real reference point. It can be very pale white, milky color, or it can be something that does have more yellow in it. So that's the reason I ask. Is if you're just looking for a cream color, then yes, something along the lines of bright ivory or ivory gets you really, really close. And then it's just a matter of what you're attempting to paint as to if you want to move it more yellow or add a little bit of brown to it or whatever.
Avian, you said for an inner cloak. Yeah, what does that mean to you? Sorry, I
would work up through ivory through like light umber into dark ivory into ivory, and that gives you that cream look, and you don't have to mix anything. Right? Remember, you're not going to paint the inside of the cloak with just one color.
Panic
And-
Bomb says, Jason, do energy weapons on BattleTech minis need to be consistent mini to mini?
What do you mean, like color-wise?
Yeah.
Some people do it thinking that it's canon to have, like the MWO, like medium lasers are green, large lasers are blue, small lasers are red, that kind of stuff. I've never worried about that, but it's up to you. I do whatever I want.
He does whatever he wants.
Ain't nobody to boss Jason. Jen might argue with that.
Papa Chicken says, lasers don't have a canon color in BattleTech. Do they?
Only through the online games.
Oh, yes.
Or the video games. The
I
video
knew,
games do.
right?
The
I knew
medium lasers are always green, large
Yeah.
lasers are always blue, and small lasers are red. So, and then there's pulse and various versions of all of them. But in the books, no, they never really worried about that I know about. But I haven't read the books in eons, so I don't keep up with it.
Laser, I hardly know her. Commando Ken, I have to resist that urge here on stream.
This is a business thing.
That's right.
Serious business.
Commando Ken, I hear you. So just let me make that acknowledgement. I feel your energy, your presence. I hear you, but I have to keep this going in that direction. I appreciate you and your scene. Is that good?
No.
Glad we're all on the same page. Commando Ken, give in to your urges, Chris. No, I shan't. I won't.
He will.
Give in to that 10%. No. See, this is okay. You're all to blame.
100%.
I won't.
But you see that this is another reason why you don't protect me. You need to protect yourself because they're doing this to you.
Oh. That was me getting hit by the slings and arrows.
Mm. Why does it always sound like a really bad Chinese kung fu dub?
It's the sound of things plunking off the stone. Planky. I don't know.
Planky?
Planky.
Nothing makes the sound planky.
Panic Bomb, you're right. I am supposed to be evil this year. Stan, Chris, did you see Earthworm Jim maybe getting a reboot cartoon? I heard about it, and there was an interview done like 2 years ago where they did that, but I don't think it's actually coming to fruition. Unless there's something as of new this last month. That fake interview they did to promote him was actually, I thought, really good. And it was really funny, but I don't know if they're going to go through with it. Making him more of like an adult cartoon show would be hilarious if they did it right. And that fake interview they did with him was hilarious. I just don't get my hopes up for that stuff. Not enough people know about it. Derpstick, what green color would you use to highlight chipped damage on Space Marine armor that has the standard green as the midtone? Also, how do you paint eyes? Whoa, big segue there.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
I painted most of the Huntsman texture trainer, but thinking about painting the eyes. Let's start with the first part. What green color would you use to highlight chipped damage on Space Marine armor that is standard green?
I prefer things in like the grays.
Yep.
So you could do like what I'm doing right now. You could use bright neutral gray.
Yeah.
And do the chip color and then, highlight it back with the green or neutral gray if you need it to be darker. If you're saying that you're in the kind of mid-tone green area with it, you may need something that's a bit darker. So I would start there. Grays work good. Black brown if you want to go to a darker chip and then highlight it with your green highlight color. Like if you're using like a faded green highlight color or something, then black brown works really, really well as a chip color for pretty much anything. I use it on tanks and all sorts of vehicle and armor. Black brown's always great. good go-to. Because it can actually, depending on the color it's up against, it can actually make it look like the chip has, you know, a little bit of rust or earthy tone to it. The gray will just look like, you know, what I imagine ceramite, having a ceramic kind of a component to it might look like, that it might be lighter than darker. So that could be it. Eyes, that's a totally different ball game. Give me a second, we might be able
Yeah, you're
to
good.
finish out the show painting some eyes.
Lumberjack says, I'm doing some underpainting with expert acrylics on this King of Thulspara bust. Nice. Starting with Payne's Gray, going to Alzerian Crimson, and ending with Arrowed Yellow Deep. I'm going to glaze the red oxide tint over it. Sweet. I'm glad you're liking those. The expert acrylics, the new series, is filled with great colors.
Our black leather. Again, the OneStep dark blue black just doing heavy duty work, giving just a tinge of blue, but keeping it pretty centered in that black gray world. Works well. I like it. All right, you said you were working on a hunter, right?
Yeah. Do you have one up there that's clean?
Ish.
Wait, is there another one?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Is it cleaner? Oh. That's fine.
These are what I have.
This is what I have. You choose whatever you want, Jason. It's your world, man.
These are what I have.
I gotta get you some more clean stuff. No, don't look under there.
Okay, I'm not looking under there.
Dang it, that's fine. That's okay.
All right, so on him, his eyes are up under the visor.
Ooh, that's a tough one, huh?
Well, it's a little tough.
In my
because
mind, it
of
is.
the eyes not being as visible. Right?
Yeah.
So one of the things you're going to want to do is probably make them bright because they're going to be in cast shadow.
Yeah.
Right? So eyes like this, but we'll paint them as if they're not, just to show people how I would paint the eye anyway. I think would be good.
Sure.
This is a good scale. It's obviously bigger than a Space Marine eye. Or
I'm gonna try to
like
zoom in a little bit if you wanna. There you go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll go in and I'll show you the easy way. I've shown this method a lot, and this is typically the way that I enjoy painting eyes, regardless of what's going on. And let's think about like kind of what the brightest color of skin tone would be on him. Maybe you want to go to something like peach flesh. So I want to kick into maybe ivory for the eyes. You don't ever want to paint eyes white. You want to try to keep a color, if not using your brightest skin tone, which you can use the highlight color for eyes on smaller models. So like if we were going to go to peach flesh, you could actually use something like peach flesh to paint the whites of the eyes on a Space Marine.
Yeah.
But as the scale grows, it'll become evident that that's a weird color.
Okay.
Right? That a flesh tone is not how the eye is. The sclera is obviously a whitish color. But I like the ivories are your best go-to because they keep a little bit of yellow. And then what I typically do is just go in and kind of roughly color in the eye so that you can get rid of the scary part right out of the gate, which is, you know, you don't have to worry about it. Now, if your hunter is already painted, this is going to be not the way to do it, okay? Because what I'm doing here is painting before, which is when I typically say for eyes that you're going to pay attention to, paint them before you paint the face.
Yeah.
Or at least get them started. You don't have to finish them. But by just going and slapping in the paint and actually getting it out of the lines on purpose helps to define where the eye is again.
Yep.
And then I would take, I don't think this eye's big enough to really shade it, so I'm just going to go straight to a pupil. And again, it's always a determination of how big the eye is, how much real estate it gives you. I typically go on eyes like this and just pick something like black-brown so that you can create the illusion of a brown eye if you want it. If you paint it blue or green, hazel, something like that, you're going to wind up making it look really weird. If you want to, you can spend the time to get, the pupil painted into the iris and all that stuff, but it's harder. Let's have him kind of looking the way he's facing, right? And so what I would say here is grab your brush.
Come up just a little. There it is.
Grab your brush, and then you're going to say, okay, well, where is the pupil wanting to be? It's wanting to be right about there. So I'm just going to go in and paint a line is my goal here, right up and down through the eyeball where I want the pupil. So I'm not worried about painting a dot. I'm painting a stroke across there.
Yeah.
All right. And then the same thing over on the other eye. The other eye is going to be looking, you have to size them up and make sure that the other eye is looking off to his left or right as well. And again, just kind of paint a line through. And the line only needs to be as thick as the scale of the iris would be. Okay. Then I would go ahead and get whatever my base coat for my flesh is. Let's just take something like shadow flesh. Or let's take burnt umber. Yep. And this makes this really easy because now you take your flesh tone and you cut the eye back in. Pop in close.
Uh-huh.
Right? You take the flesh tone and trim the eye back. And so now you're doing something that for most people feels a lot more comfortable, which is painting up to an area as opposed to dropping a pupil into a space. And then you just need to go around, like I said, and find the edge of the eyelids and all of that. Pull the shape of the eye back in. So that's why you paint the pupil as a line as opposed to a dot, because you're going to get rid of the line by painting the flesh tones over the top.
Yeah.
Right? So it may seem backwards to do this. You don't have to finish the eye necessarily, but just getting it to this point is good enough to allow you to come in and then, for most people, like I said, be a lot more confident with how you cut the skin back around and get the coloring done. So you're never having to do play operation, and fit all of that together, because that gives you a really good fundamental basis for your eye without being scary, or a lot less scary. And if you were to mess this up, if you didn't like how you got your skin tone, if you jammed it into the tear duct too much and clogged up the white of the eye and the sclera started to disappear, then you can go in and redo it. But you're doing it where none of your colors are finished, and so it gives you a really good basis for all of this.
Yeah.
Right? Because that frames the eye out the way the sculpt is, gives you your pupils, sets your eye direction. It lets you play with your eye direction better because you can just paint that line, and because you're doing it when it's not doing this, hoping you get it right and looking like that Space Marine model meme, right?
Yeah.
If you get it wrong, you just paint the ivory over it again and then paint another line until it looks like it's lined up right, and then frame it all in with the flesh tones. Then we go in with something like shadow flesh. And now you're just layering, right? Now you're just going in and finding your highlights.
There it is.
Right.
Nice.
And so you get a little bit more of your flesh tone. That I'm not painting the lower lip as I should be. And then one of the things I like to do is, I guess depending on scale, is you could go through with a little bit of magenta wash.
Uh-huh.
Right. Before you finish your highlights on the flesh. So you can either do this at the stage where you just put the flesh base coat. I typically do it after I put my midtone on there too. You want to thin this out quite a bit, like a brush load of water into it. Right. It's about like that kind of thin.
Yeah.
Right. It's giving you color, but it's not gonna turn everything completely magenta. And you can go in and you can give that a little bit of a poke in the inside of the eye towards the tear duct. Right?
Yeah.
Wipe my brush off, get my brush back, and kind of push that around. Wick it out like that. That's too red in there, makes it look bloodshot. Get a point on my brush here. Again, just kind of stick the brush in there. That'll give a little bit of that magenta in to make it look alive. So you can play around with that however you want. Sometimes your eyes aren't going to be big enough to make that difference. And then, you know, you're up to making the determination, is the eye big enough to do a shine on the pupil or not? I broke my brush. I'm not going to use that. I have another one. God, oh, stop.
Teach me how you doing.
A brand new one.
Ooh, yummy. Nope.
Got it? Right, so you can figure out, usually I try to get a shine spot that crosses the iris / pupil into the white of the eye, like so.
Yeah.
Bring a little bit of life to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Now you can also go in with a black wash works okay when it's in shadow like this, but a brown wash typically works a little bit better for shadow to the eye.
Yeah.
So you can sink it back into the face because you've painted the sclera color and then you put the skin color close over the top, but you may want to come back and give it a little bit of shading. And this is where you would take not quite a whole brush load, but take a brown wash or a black brown or mix your own color or whatever and kind of put it in there. That'll give some depth to the eye again by taking the eyelid and forcing the eye behind it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. And so very quickly you can get a pretty damn good looking eye.
Yeah.
Without having to be, you know, a pro and not putting yourself in a position where you feel like you're having to do that janky.
Yeah.
The pupil's never where you want it. So this is just a skill I learned very early on. This is a Shepherd Payne taught thing that, you know, he was always one that said, why worry about the frustration of getting the eyes wrong when the whole face is done? Do this before, and now you can go about painting the face and making it look the way you want. And you notice how the magenta shows around the edges of the eye, so it gives you some life. And we didn't do anything difficult here. Everything that was done here was simply an application of paint. And then you go back and highlight the face as you want. So hopefully that helps.
Nice.
And that works at any scale. It obviously gets harder and you want to use a finer brush to do the line of the pupil as you go.
Depending on the
If
size.
you have eyes that are looking up or directly down and you need to see the white of the eye above or below the pupil, then you just go back after you do the line and you cut a fine line of ivory below or above the line in the eye to center it. But you don't ever want to do ivory above and below the pupil because that makes them look like, unless you're doing something that's like super scared,
Yeah.
you know. Because typically the iris and the pupil don't float in a sea of white unless people are completely, you know, scared.
Well, there you go. Dripstick, hopefully that helped.
Did we do the thing?
We did the thing.
Okay. All right. And we're making progress. It's funny because I have to paint everything except the rider, and now not having the rider have any color, it makes the whole thing look a little strange. Because it's just this big black lump on the back that now starts to need some coloring. So we're going to have to put some base color on him now.
Cool. Dripstick, you're gonna try him with a green iris. Nice.
You remember that if you do green, if you do colors, you need to do multiple colors, and that's where scale comes into play. Because you could take, let's show you on that guy. Where did I put him? Here. You could take where we've done the black brown and giving him like brown eyes, and you could put a little bit of green on that, and that would help. If to make green eyes. I say don't paint the sclera green until you have eyes of a scale where you can actually go in and paint the pupil and have confidence that you can do that. So what do we have around here that would be even big enough to do that? I don't know if we have
Honestly,
anything.
the Shinobi is the first one that comes to mind, but not even.
Yeah.
What about the orc? That orc right there.
Well, like Jen did a great job with the
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Right? Where she's got, like, zoom in super close.
Yeah. Yep.
See how she was able to do it and have shading to it as well?
Yeah.
So she's got the green and the bluish with the highlights, and you've got the pupil in the middle and the shine spot. She knocked it out of the park with this, but that's the level, that's the scale it needs to be to be able to pull that off. And those are a bit bigger.
What about,
right?
Didn't you do that on the Shinobi? I thought she had a really cool iris.
She's got a cool eye because she's got like the yellow demonic eye.
Yeah.
But we did them like as in like reptilian.
Oh, yeah. Those are cool. I like how you did those.
Right. So that's just a totally different effect that we're going for with her, though.
Cool.
They just need to be at scale because you really do, in order to pull it off. Otherwise, it just looks like a green dot. It doesn't ever look right. You have to be able to give it the darker area around the outside of the iris, because iris is always kind of brighter towards the center, darker around the outside in general, and then the pupil. And so you have to be able to give it that highlight or shade in order to pull it off. Now you can, if I do this, I'll just take regular green. Why not? Just bright green. Well, it's not bright green. It's regular green. But if we do this, then hop in super close.
Mm-hmm. Let me focus. There it is.
If we get in here and do this right, which is never guaranteed, then and lay a touch of green in and get it to look like a green eye and have the black brown or the dark color that you've used. I wouldn't suggest black, but black brown is my favorite go-to. And then you can kind of, I'm not being able to get my brush to cooperate and put the green in. Well, it kind of did.
Let me see. Really tough there. There it is.
You get a little bit of the green on the bottom there. And so you can play around with that. But again, you're talking about a scale that's really, really difficult to pull this off on and make it work, especially with my old eyes. Like that.
I can see a little bit of what you're doing, though.
Yeah, see? So it becomes a colored eye and has some realism to it, but isn't trying to pull off being painted green. I would stay away from trying to paint it green. You can just come in and use a little bit of almost a quick glaze of green that just hits the underside of the iris. And that'll make the eyes green-ish.
Nice.
That's your better bet than starting with like dark green and all that. Unless, of course, you've got like a magnifying glass and hands of steel and can get in there and do that tiny little pinprick of color. Go for it. I never want to dissuade you. But remember, at scale, you just can't see it anyway. When you're holding the model and handing it to somebody, nobody's going to see all that detail. And so sometimes doing the detail causes it to look incorrect, because in order to make it look at normal viewing distance like it has green eyes isn't really relevant, because like when we talk about eyes with you, Chris, is
Yeah.
that if you're looking at something at that scale, you're never going to know the color of the eye. In typical normal lighting, the eye is going to be shaded.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
I
right
can't-
now, even like you can't. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, watching the screen, you can't tell the color of our eyes unless you got it on a really big screen and making
Right.
the scale much larger, because our eyes are just mostly shaded. Which is why people like Kenny say, I don't paint eyes, right? Is why would you? Because at scale, you wouldn't see that. So don't push yourself so far thinking that it's going to get you like the trophy. It may, but it's a lot of hassle. So.
Lumberjack says, Fuse, do you shake the
Yes.
expert acrylics when you grab them?
Yep.
Oh, just out of muscle memory?
Every time. Just every time I pick up a paint, I shake it. So I'll grab these, and you'll see me every now and then. Oh, no, you don't do that. You don't shake the...
Sometimes I'll grab those plastic cups and start shaking them.
You don't shake the titanium.
When I
light.
go and pick up for a mix, I'll like start to shake it in my hand. I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah. Don't have to do that, it turns out.
You have to use a brush at work that has a single hair. I don't know if we can produce that
Nope.
one, little Billy.
Nope.
A single hair.
Not unless it's like Yeti hair that's super thick.
Yeti hair?
A single hair won't do you any good.
Bigfoot hair.
You need more hair to keep the brush stiff enough to actually apply the paint. It's called an eyelash brush with a single hair. What? Oh, for electron microscopy. He's just making words up now, Chris.
I don't know if those are real, Billy.
He's making words up.
Cool.
Little Billy and his microscopy fetish.
I don't know. Oh. Don't look at my microscopy. Microscopy. Scooper microscopily.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Glad to be back.
Glad
And,
to have you back, Jason.
Remember, if you're new around here, please hit the follow and the sub button. We do this Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona. We'd love to see you back as part of our community. Make sure to join the Discord, where we have encroaching on 7,000 amazing artists just like yourself.
Yeah.
Craziness, great inspiration, great friends to be made over there, and good feedback at all times of the day and night, which is even better. Place to test out your worst jokes. Usually people will give you lots of grief, which will tell you how good or bad it is, so that's also awesome. And make sure to check out monumenthobbies.com and monumenthobbies.eu, the much-needed marketing spiel that we got to give you. Buy some paint, buy some brushes, have some fun painting models. Let us be part of your hobby journey. We'd love to be there with you. And make sure to tune in next time, which will be tomorrow, as we do more painting. I'll either continue on this guy, or I might be bored and want to paint my guy that John brought. We also have to get ready, because next Friday I'm painting Bilbo. So I need to prep and build Bilbo as well.
Oh, you have to build him?
Well, he's resin. I just need to put him on a base.
Oh, yeah.
I need to figure out how we're going to put him on a base. I have some wooden plinths.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I'll probably do some terrain on a wooden plinth to make that kind of cool. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. But stick around. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid. So show your love in the chat we wind up in. Show them how great our monument crew is. And have some fun hobbying off into the evening. And we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Adios, gang.